Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Tuesday afternoon, April 8th. We are looking at window traders' market profile of the S&NQ. So a day that started out with some promise for the bulls turns pretty ugly at the end of the day. In fact, I just saw a headline. Again, I'm just repeating what I saw. It's the biggest reversal on the NASDAQ since 1982. Now, we were up over 4% at one point today in the NASDAQ. And we closed down what? 2%. So almost a 6% turnaround. So that's, again, I don't know how true that is, but it seems like it could be. Now, the other interesting thing is we tried to go trend up, we failed. Now, today, we go trend down and hold it, right? We end up going trend down and finally holding a trend day. Now, ES is not an inside day. ES accomplished one thing today. They did put the daily back to balance. They took out yesterday's high. NQ and Righty, however, failed at their balance high, which was yesterday's high. NQ got very close. I'm in bigger increments now. Righty, well, it depends on what you're going to use for Righty. But Righty didn't even get close to yesterday's high, let alone Thursday's high. Righty goes out with a quadruple distribution day and a price probe. Okay? That's pretty, and they ended up with unchanged value, I think, after being higher. NQ goes out with a triple distribution day down, a price spike, price probe. ES, same thing, goes out with a price probe, price spike, and a triple distribution day down. Those big gaps are still above us. So I'm not surprised. We attempted to go trend up today, and I said to the room early today, if we do not hold trend up, there's no way we're taking back these gaps. They're just too large. Now, again, I'm in bigger increments. They don't look as big, but they're large. Well, obviously, we didn't hold trend. And then we had change take place when we went down. Even though we had the overnight high, we went down, took out the IB low. Still couldn't hold trend initially in ES, but NQ did with this little one. And then finally, remember what I said this morning. This is what we talk about all day in the trading room. I tried to break down yesterday and keep it a little small. I said early in the day, yesterday's high is important, and the afternoon rally high that we're trading above early on is important. Well, NQ defended yesterday's high, as did Righty. ES did come back into balance, but what happened when we came back to the afternoon rally high where there were sellers yesterday, right? Early this morning there were buyers, but what happened when we got back to it? Look, there were sellers again, big time. That's where we went trend. That's where we held trend, even though NQ even held trend a little bit above it. I said those were two big levels. Why? Because once that's breached, if you get acceptance into value, what's the next destination? The other end of value. We open above value, then you close inside of it 2 time frames in a row. It's 80% chance you're going to get the other end of value. No matter. Even though the ranges were huge yesterday, we got it. Today's range is huge. $35.82 in SPY. One of the largest ever again. Our volume, huge again. 157. Remember we used to talk about it would be nice to see 150 million on the tape? Well, we've seen over 200 million now, and 2 days in a row. And now today, we're going to do over 160 million with the after hours. We talk about this stuff ad nauseum on my videos in the morning, which like 20 people watch, and my videos at night, which I'm lucky to get maybe 80 to 100 to watch. It's so visual, and we try to educate and inform people. It's just amazing how many people don't want to be educated. We're not telling you this after the fact. So when this changed, I changed. Now, I'm not going over all my trades. I had a fantastic day today. Fantastic. I did take a couple of losses, but compared to what I made, just a fantastic day. So I'm going to leave it at that. I was long early in A, B, and C. Turned to short in D. E, I actually did try. The only other long I tried was in G period. against the overnight low the first time, but once that got taken out, that was that. And again, everything else was short in HIKLM. So I had both sides of the market. The only two losses I took a small loss. I took a 20-point loss on the turnover. And on E period, I thought it would come in. It went up. But I got that back right away with two more shorts in E. And I lost on a long in G period in NQ. I thought we would fill those single prints. Came in, took it off for a loss. And then that's when I flipped totally short for the rest of the afternoon. But these things are all talked about prior to them happening. And once we got that acceptance inside of value from yesterday, I said, that long game is over. Please don't look for longs. Please don't look for long. When K period opened up and shot to its high, I nailed it. I'm not sure what K got up to, but I nailed it. And too bad I didn't hold it because we had a reversal ball and came back down. But again, it's not about my trading. It's about trying to see what the days do. Remember, I said yesterday was very difficult for me to try to figure out intraday. Now, today's intraday changed, but I changed with it, right? Went from the bulls having some control this morning to the bears. Now, even though we ended up with overlap on a higher value, and value is very important to me, it did get pulled in a lot, and it's context. I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, I'm going to be buying because value is only higher. Of course not. The indices totally flipped to the other side. This is what we do in this room. All day, every day. There wasn't one stretch yesterday or today with me yelling and screaming or anything about the market. All nice, calm, cool, collected. To keep everybody's temperature down and to tell them what we think the market is attempting to do. And keeping them out of trouble, especially this afternoon. A lot of people kept asking, well, what about if I buy at settlement? What about if I buy at POC? I'm like, no. The game changed. If this is long-term money selling, they're not going to respect those. They might have stepped aside. Now, I thought maybe they exhausted themselves coming in where we were opening. But maybe they just stepped aside to see how much the market wanted to rally. And we had an underlying bid from some short covering. And then once the market couldn't take out yesterday's high in NQ and righty, and once it barely took it out in ES and never got near the gaps, well, then maybe they said, okay, game on again. And they started selling it. You're never, ever going to win against long-term money. Short-term money can never absorb long-term money. Ever. Remember that. Especially when there's no market makers. All they're doing is hitting any bid in sight. And that's mostly retail bids who are trying to catch the bottom and it's getting run over. Okay? Please remember that. As far as our chart, well, before we get to that, again, what's important here? Look, as crazy as it's been range and volume-wise, let's take the temperature down a bit. Okay? This is what I do in the trading room every day. Let's take the temperature down a bit. Doesn't matter if it's a $3 balance or a $200 balance. This should take your temperature down a bit. Until we break out of this balance, you're going to get possibly chop unless long-term money decides tomorrow to keep going. Right? Our balance high in ES is Friday's high. Our balance low is Monday's low. NQ's balance high is Monday's high and Monday's low. That's the whole balance. But it's a 3-day balance. Now, inside of that balance, it's an incredibly huge range. So be careful in it. So let's see how we come. So in other words, if we take out today's low, we're not coming out of balance yet. Still have to take out Monday's low. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, NQ and right are your inside days. So what do you do with those? You go with them when you come out of it and monitor for continuation or lack of. Don't forget that. So here's the monthly. Remember, you get with a market that's possibly turning bear totally, you're going to get vicious short covering rallies. Did you notice? And again, I'm going to go back because I forgot. I should have shown you that, and I'll show you after the chart. How every rally, no matter how vicious it was, got slammed right back down. But for now, look at the monthly. What's our next target on our monthly? We've been talking about this. Around the 466, 470 level. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. First, we did take that out. We took out that 483 level. Right. So if we go and make a new low this month, if we do, well, then our target, again, is around the 4. Actually, I would use this high, which is around the 460 level. After being up, then came into balance, and we broke out of balance. So the monthly is firmly down. The weekly, firmly down. Right now, it's only 2 days in, but look at this weekly candle. It's pretty ugly, but it's only 2 days. Now, you do have a lot coming out. You have the Fed minutes tomorrow. You have CPI Thursday, PPI Friday. But again, the buzzword now is tariffs. So inflation, rates, all that crap's out the window. So I don't know how much any of that's going to matter, to be honest. And here's the daily. Look at this. Look at this 3-day balance. It's a huge balance, right? You know, just to put it into context, it is 526 to 482. That's a $44 balance. That's huge. You don't get some monthly, you get a lot of months that don't have a $44 range. This is in 3 days. Now, I want to show you something real quick. I know this is a long video. Again, if you listen to me, I'm hoping you listen to me for a reason. If not, then I don't understand. The last 3 days, right? Look at these attempts at rallies. Okay? Here's Friday when D period ripped up. Absolutely failed down. I period, not as much as one, but that was D. Look at yesterday. Right? Yesterday we opened, ripped up in B period. Only to be all taken back. Right? All taken back. And then today, again, try to push higher, all taken back. So what is that telling me? It's telling me, again, that yeah, the rips might be pretty powerful, but the pushback against them are even more powerful as they continue to go and make lower lows after they do that. Now, yesterday they didn't make a lower low, but and yesterday again was a little more difficult to figure out. But we never got into that sell tail and B from yesterday. Today we did. Anyway, I urge you to come check out camelbacktrading.org. I think it'll keep your mental sanity, your mental fuel, your financial capacity, and everything else at peak condition. Come check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Thank you very much for liking and subscribing to this channel. Rest up, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.